Hey everyone, Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler, with a long overdue merch talk show. And I got Nick Eden with me here today. How you doing, Nick?
Hey. I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing super amazing. Now, I must say, we used to do merch talk shows, and I kind of missed that. As a matter of fact, recently I've noticed a bunch of people have been asking to do that. So maybe we can schedule something and we'll figure it out because the new updates for me have got me back into merch, and we'll talk about that
Yeah.
in just a second. So do you want to introduce yourself for people that don't know?
Yeah, definitely.
Go for it, man. Take it away, sir.
Well, for everybody who does not know, my name is Nick Eden. I am the host of the 4554 podcast. Also, Nick Eden on YouTube, where I host Morning Cup of Merch, Merch in a Minute, and the actual 4554 podcast itself. I've been selling on merch since March or February of 2017, but I've been in POD since 2015. So, I've always been a person who is definitely into multiple streams of income online. So merch is still, in my opinion, a good opportunity. But I'm just wondering if everybody's feeling the same way about merch like they used to, you know?
Yeah, for me, I haven't been, to be honest, I haven't been posting for months. I think a couple days ago when they did the new updates is the first time that I actually did some listings and kind of going back, and I had about 1,000 listings up, and now they're dwindled down to about 400 because of over the last, what is it? Is it 9 months? No, not 9 months, 90 days. They come down after they've
Mm-hmm.
listed. So
Yep.
I've been going back and looking through those with a couple of days. So what have you been doing lately with merch?
You know what? You remember last year I was off doing the campaign for the midterms.
Oh, that's
So
right.
when I, so essentially what was 7 weeks turned into 4 months on the road. And so I had the same issue that you had, like almost, you know, a ton of listings came down. So, you know, originally I was going to come back and just start doing content again. And then I was like, look, I'm like out of the loop on merch. I hadn't been really seeing what's been going on. I was working 7 days a week, and I was just like, okay, I got to get back to the basics of it, learn everything again. And like I've just gotten, and I manage my wife's account too. So like I'm even still like now on my account, I may have 800 and no. I've done a few uploads in the last week, so I'm at like 880 live on my account, and then on her account, it just got a big drop off, so she's like down to 350. So
Yeah.
I mean, just trying to get back into it, man, and just trying to. It's so much changed in merch. Just niches that once sold through the roof are completely oversaturated now. While I think the quality of a lot of designs has gotten better, which is due to a lot of outsourcing and illustrations and everything, I still think it's like a ton of stuff that comes up on merch that's kind of crap. So I mean, it's just trying to navigate through it. It's gotten more competitive. It's gotten more difficult. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
But just trying to find my place in it.
Yeah, for myself, I hear what you're feeling. I think the thing that turned me off the most was when they started to do the marketing promotion gimmicky thing that they were doing. Do you remember when they I'm trying to think what it was. It was like the paid promotions.
Yep.
And I don't remember when they exactly rolled that out, but that's kind of when everything went a little downhill for me when I stopped doing it. And to be honest, like um the money was good like 2 years ago where money was coming in. I was doing like, my, what was it, like 20 uploads a day or whatever whatever they gave us
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
time, and I was doing it every day and being consistent and making money. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, when they started to pull that stuff with the promotions and selling for advertising, and it seemed like a lot of people were jumping in. My shirts were, ideas were getting stolen that were original ideas, and there was a whole thing with that, and it kind of got me depressed, and then started uh, basically kind of just not doing it. And another thing too is the money would come in regularly. Like I can always say I wasn't making a lot of money, but I can always say there was X amount of money always coming in.
Right.
without me having to do anything, without having to upload, without having to do research. It's just the money was coming in. Those evergreen shirts have been evergreen shirts for 2 years. And like you said, I would say the last couple of months is when all those evergreens that I had don't sell anymore. What are your thoughts?
Right. Yeah, I went through and like maybe a week or so ago, and I said, let me just kind of take a day where I don't have anything else that I'm doing and go through and like refresh old listings. And I've seen some of the sales pick back up, but then, that's the other thing that's kind of gotten everybody down is like all these frivolous trademarks that have popped up recently. And so shirts that I had that have been up, you go in and refresh them all of a sudden, oh, it's a trademark violation. And it's just like, dude, you're trademarking a phrase that you didn't come up with, and you're not building a brand around. So you just did it to knock out competition. So it's just it gets a little disheartening, I'll be honest. But I still believe in merch as a platform itself. I mean, you got to think about it. FBA is what, in its 12th 13th year at this point, and I mean there are still people doing fairly well in it. But with merch, it's a lower barrier of entry. Let's be honest. If you been experienced with reselling, like I don't have the reselling experience that you have, but just in my experience in reselling, generally you kind of go into it knowing, okay, I have to handle a lot of this like a real business. And because it's such a low barrier of entry into print on demand period, a lot of people don't take that mentality. So it's a lot of black hat stuff going on, and it does discourage people. I'll be honest, but I still believe in the platform. I still believe in the platform.
Yeah, I think I posted, you asked the question on Facebook, and let me kind of go back there and see what exactly you asked. Maybe you can, I can't find it right now, but maybe you can paraphrase the question that actually got us to do this show. What was the question?
Well, I asked everyone, I was like, are you excited for merch as you were when you first got in? Because I've been looking at the groups lately, and I mean, let's call it what it is. Most of the groups have devolved into everybody, and I'm guilty of it too. I push my content too, but now it's just content affiliates, content affiliates, content affiliates, where it used to be a lot of interaction. There was a time where I would sign into Facebook and I wouldn't even go on my regular timeline. I'd go straight to the groups because there was a lot of interaction there. Like print on demand can be, if you're not doing it with your family, it can be a very lonely type of business, because most people don't understand the concept of it. Hey, I'm going to take a design and I'm going to put it on a shirt and it's going to be online and people can buy it. I can market it. And most people are like, what are you talking about? Because a lot of people have an antiquated view of the t-shirt business. They're either thinking screen printing or they're thinking heat press. So when you're telling them about print on demand from an e-commerce standpoint, they don't know what you're talking about. So the solace was being able to go into the groups and talk and get excited about it. And just those different things. And I think that we don't have that right now. There's not a lot of excitement about it. Everything is just kind of rigid. And, I think a lot of people got turned off because of, I mean, you had a lot of people that go into, well, it's merch after dark. You have a lot of people that go into the groups and bitch and complain all the time. And people got tired of that. And I think it drove people away. So,
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, for me, like there wasn't much excitement, to be honest. Like I wasn't making great sales, but it's all my fault. And you're totally right when you say merch by Amazon is still a great platform. And for those that don't know, who are new to the channel and don't know what we're talking about, merch by Amazon is basically a print on demand service that Amazon has. You sign up, you create designs, you post them onto the merch by Amazon site, and then people buy them, and then Amazon fulfills those orders. They also have pop sockets. They also have new stuff coming in, and that was my joke too. It's like they're catching up with Printful finally with offering,
yeah.
And you can always tell when Amazon is trying to catch up to the trend, or they know they're screwing up, is when they come out with all these things. Because like when that paid promotion thing came out, I don't know too many people that actually did that. And so and then they started to remind you like, hey, you can do this and this and this. And I'm thinking like, this is what's happening now, is the Amazon people are probably seeing their metrics going down too, of people engaging and doing, and they're coming up with like all these new things. Like, did you have the multi-create beta?
Not yet.
No.
I was actually just talking about that this morning. You know, I never get like that first rollout. You know, like I think the closest thing I got was when Pop Sockets came out. I was on like the second wave of people who got them. But other than that, I'm usually like dead last.
Yeah, I haven't got them either. And also the some of the new news that came on for those that haven't been logged into yet. So yesterday there was an announcement that they're going to offer customers more options. You can now select up to 10 colors when publishing. Before, I think Nick, you can correct me if I'm wrong, there was 5 colors
Yep.
before. And so people like Jeff would actually had great ideas about, like, oh, you should just do 2 listings. And I never really thought about that
Right.
before. And I was like, oh, that's very smart. And now they're kind of catching up, like almost like 2 years later. Like, it's so easy for them just to code that kind of stuff into their software. I don't know why they didn't do that before. And so they're rolling that out also with beta customers or beta sellers and everything like this. And today, 411, which is four, I thought that was actually pretty funny, like 411 information. And, Julian Assange getting arrested this morning, and like,
Right.
411 equals information. And I'm going to go down the conspiracy. Hey, I'm going to put my tinfoil
I
hat
was about
on.
to say, where's my tinfoil?
So they're saying summer's getting ready. So it's like, wow, they're going to do tank tops and V-necks and raglans. I've never even heard of raglans before. Have you heard of
It's
that
the
term?
it's, yeah, it's the baseball style shirt where it has the different color sleeve from the rest of the shirt. It's that baseball style. You know, it's really popular on T Public.
Yeah,
And
but I've never heard it called raglan. Is that raglans? Is that how you say it?
right, yeah,
Yeah, I've never heard that
Wrangling,
before.
right, yeah. I've heard the only reason I've heard it is because like I know a few seamstresses and they use the term. So that's and so that's the only reason I always call it a baseball style shirt. I had to look it
Right.
up to make sure I was pronouncing it right.
That's what I was saying. Like, I always used to call those jerseys. I thought like Amazon was trying to be all funny and like, oh, we're gonna come up with our own term because we can't use like onesie or Velcro, those
Right.
terms that you could not use. So I was thinking like someone was in the back of some Amazon like cubicle somewhere, like, we gotta call it raglans. That's a great idea. So I didn't even know. But
Yeah.
no, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, at the end of it, Amazon is a data company, right? They're basing everything on data. I think that while sometimes I think their rollouts can be a little off, you know, the biggest thing I wanted everybody to not do was just go in and start complaining. Oh, I don't have it yet. All the gurus have it. I mean, it's just basic R&D. It's beta testing. That's what it is. And you're going to use the people who are selling the most. They're not going to get any data from me. At this point, I'm peaking at about 30 to 40 shirts per week. They're not getting any solid data out of me. That's just kind of what it is right now.
Yeah.
They're going to get the data out of someone who's selling 300 plus shirts a week. So that's just kind of is what it is. Uh, at the end of it, I think the biggest issue that everybody did, and I think from the jump, what I loved about doing Merch Talk was that we all had things going outside of merch. Merch was a nice shiny new object, but we had a lot of stuff going on outside of it, and to a degree, which is why we haven't done the show. We still have a lot outside of it, but I think so many people bet on merch like, yeah, I'm going to put all my eggs in this basket, devote all my time to it. And when it didn't pan out like they thought it would, a lot of people just kind of got discouraged. As opposed to, and even beyond us, when you look at Glenn and Young, they have things outside of merch that they do. I think at this point, Glenn is just like, he's going so hard with his YouTube channel. Like, he's rearranged the whole channel. And, it's just when you're not just so hell bent dependent on this one platform that you don't own and you can't control, you've essentially traded one job for another, except this one doesn't have a guaranteed base. so, and I think that's where a lot of people have gotten discouraged with it. It's still a lot of money to be made off of merch. It is.
Absolutely.
Amazon's still one of, if not the most trusted online retailers in the world. there's still marketplaces that have not been opened up to us yet. There's still so much. And I think that for anyone who has FBA or merchant fulfilled experience, when you see the seller central side of it, there's a whole nother world that merch hasn't even touched yet.
Yeah.
And we're only 4 years in. This is going into the 4th year. This is the time where things are going to even out, and you're going to have people who will stick through the fire, and it'll either be a consistent source of some type of income, no income at all, where people will just say, screw it, I quit. And then you're going to have the people that are going to stay and really dig into it and soar. And that's with almost any platform. There are people I had people telling me 5 years ago, when I was like, yeah, I started with eBay a while back. I didn't really do too well. I want to start again. Oh man, eBay's dead. You'll never make a dime off of
it. Yeah.
And eBay has trumped a lot of these fly-by-night, companies that have, come up since then. So it's all about getting a handle on it. But the more that we don't control, the more I think if it's a situation where you're like, look, I'm not going to concentrate solely on merch. I have other things that I'm going to concentrate. Like for me, one of the things I'm doing right now is building content for another YouTube channel that's all about side hustles, right? And to be honest, I've been so excited about that. To be honest, I make more money doing Amazon Flex than I do doing Merch by Amazon. And I was active income, yeah, but I actually enjoy it, and I'm getting content for my channel in the process. So I mean, it's just this is why, and I think we've always preached on the show never to put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, a lot of times I said that. What is and I hate to interrupt. What is Amazon Flex? I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Okay, so Amazon Flex is a delivery program. It's basically with all of their Prime stuff. So they have these sorting centers in different cities, and you've seen the Amazon trucks that go through the neighborhoods and they're delivering the package.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
But then they also have a large sector of it that's for independent contractors that use their personal vehicles, and they go out and they deliver them. And I mean, it's definitely not passive. It's active. I've learned a lot about Amazon on the logistics side that I did not know before. First and foremost, that Amazon can pay you twice a week. So all that, we're just getting paid once a month. I get 2 checks a week from Amazon, depending on if I do flex that week. But I mean, it's I don't want to call it mindless work, because I think that would be probably insulting to somebody who may depend on that as their full-time income. I do it because it's decent income, and
it's automated
content.
work. We could say that it's automated.
Yeah, it's automated work, right? It's no different than somebody getting out and doing Uber or Lyft or DoorDash or Postmates or any of those other type of things like that. And
so that's what you've been doing over the last few months.
It's part of it, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I've been doing a bunch of different side hustles, man, because you know what it is? I realized a long time ago that most people look at me like I have 8 heads when I tell them about most e-commerce stuff. When I tell them about reselling, they look at me like I'm crazy. When I tell them about print on demand, they look at me like I'm crazy. Let's not even get into private label,
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, my wife and I were doing a channel together. And we were like, okay, well, what's some practical stuff that someone who may not be the most tech savvy person could do as a side hustle? Okay, so signed up for Uber, signed up for Lyft, signed up for Amazon Flex, all these different things. And it's like, okay, you're basically doing research on what type of side hustles may work and getting paid for the process. So it's just like paid R&D. So, some days I'll go out and I'll do 3 different apps and see if I can get paid from 3 different apps in one day. So it works. It works, and it keeps me busy, and it keeps cool. How I am about diversifying income. So it keeps the income definitely diversified.
Yeah, and I think we're coming into a new age, and I think we've been kind of heading this way over the last 10 years, where traditional 9-to-5 jobs, they'll still be around, but our generation is starting to we're like kind of Generation X, where we don't follow the trends of the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. We're kind of creating our own thing. And I think that's what we're seeing a kind of evolution in the workforce where, a part of it has to do with the economy. We're not making as much money as our grandparents did in the 40s and the 50s. So we're constantly having to work two jobs, but not like two 9 to 5s, but like, your side hustle, like you're saying. And by the way, I'm going to put a link to Nick's new channel and in his original channel down below if you're watching this on the back end. So Nick, I'll make sure that we get all your information there. But yeah, I think, for me, I've been in this kind of world since I can remember, like you were saying, I've been in this world for a long time. And so I hear what you're saying when you talk to people that just work 9 to 5s and you talk about, FBA or whatever. And it's like, you have to start from square one to explain, well, about Amazon, right? Well, that you can like ship stuff to a warehouse and they will fulfill it. And, and it's all that kind of stuff. So I totally hear you. Let's talk about Flex, man. Like this really has got me like interested in like, so how does that work? Do you have to go to a center, pick up packages and then deliver them? How does that work?
Yep. So, okay. Out of all the, and let me go ahead and say this now. The channel is Side Hustle Tech. It's not live yet. We're doing the content and really position it like almost like a season, right? So as I've been learning about all this editing stuff, it's just that portion of it's been interesting. But so Amazon Flex is just basically using your personal vehicle. You're delivering your packages in neighborhoods, sometimes to businesses, different things like that. They have a waiting list on most cities.
I'm sure.
Because it's probably one of the best like gig economy types of things. So they'll do them, if you're doing like the warehouse, they'll do 4-hour blocks. So they're going to guarantee you at least $18 an hour, right? So you get a 4-hour block, $72. And you do them blocks at a time. Now, if you finish the block before the 4 hours is up, you still get paid your $72, which is why it's so appealing to a lot of people.
So like if you got some hustlers out there that are just going to go, let's hustle, you're going to get done in 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
I've had times where I had a 4-hour block and I was done in an hour.
Yeah, I believe it.
I was done in an hour, and then I throw on the Uber Eats app and do that for the rest of the time and double up the money. But it's and then depending on the city, like so I do it in New Orleans. So like in New Orleans, you have the warehouse, but then you also have Whole Foods, which Amazon owns now. So you can do the delivery for them. In some areas, you can do food delivery, like the same way they do with DoorDash and Postmates and Uber Eats. It really depends on the area. But I mean, like the website, if everybody wants to at least see, if you join the waiting list if you're interested, but it's flex.amazon.com. And it's probably one of the better gigs out there. I do know some people that make it their full-time gig. Like, and that's what they do. They'll work their 8 hours, get their 144 a day. They may do some other stuff on the side, but that's going to be their main thing. And you get paid twice a week. So it's really good for like cash flow if you need to do some stuff really quickly.
Right. And that comes back to the old traditional ways of getting paid, like over, like it would be like, oh, every 2 weeks is the old standard. And now you're saying you get paid twice a week, which is, I've never even heard of that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how it is, like, but we're kind of used to that kind of situation because when we put stuff on eBay, we're getting paid automatically through PayPal. So we're getting the money automatically. It's almost like getting paid every hour, every day, So I totally hear that. So Adam Exploits in the chat is asking, so that's different than buying their van and being a subcontractor.
Yeah. So that's you can do one. So I know people have probably seen that article. Oh, start your own Amazon business, and it's like a 10K buy-in, and you get a van. I'll say this: anybody who's got 10K to invest, hold off on that, because you really don't see an investment unless you've got like a fleet of like 30 trucks. What they'll do is, if there's an Amazon sorting center in your area, you can put in a bid to do so. But they're really giving those contracts to those larger investors that have 30. They can do 30, 40 trucks at a time. You got to have at least like 30 grand liquid on you to even try. This would be, you taking your personal vehicle, going out, you go to the center, you stock up, and you head on out. What I found it to be was interesting in terms of research, because at this point now, I can see when, at least in New Orleans, when t-shirts are low, like I saw the wave come up when Mardi Gras t-shirts started to sell a lot, and you could see I was getting out more packages that were t-shirts. You can tell the weight difference in the hoodies and the sweatshirts. So like, to me, again, it was paid research.
Yeah, exactly. Were you able to see the shirts, or just because they had those bags
I
that you
was
could?
tempted. I was tempted. I could no, you couldn't.
You're
It's like,
like, no,
sir,
I'm gonna get some
yeah,
great
I
designs.
don't know what happened to your. I don't know why it's open, but you have it. It's here.
That's
No,
that's too funny.
no, Amazon. If you're listening, do not. I didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
But no,
I've never heard of Amazon Flex. I think I've heard of it a little bit. And hold on one second. No, I don't have a stapler. I don't have your stapler.
you don't have
Oh,
my swing line stapler.
you want to say hi real quick? This is my son Alexander. For everyone who's watching, there you go. Say,
Hey,
he came up here looking for a stapler. Check the check the I don't know. Check the basement. That's staples. So yeah, no, but so Amazon merch, they've had they've had 3 updates so far this month, which is like a record, I think, in terms of rolling out new stuff. So they're going to roll out some tank tops. I think I saw a V-neck, and I saw the, what the hell is that thing called again? Raglins.
Raglan, yeah, Raglan, yeah.
Raglins. So
Uh,
I don't know how interesting that doesn't excite me. So you know, let's go back to your original question on Facebook. Is all this new stuff exciting me? No, not personally. And I made a joke like, oh, they're barely catching up to Printful. And speaking of Printful, that has been more consistent over the last 6 months than, and that's Printful with the Etsy integration, has been more sustainable over the last 6 months than merch by Amazon. But then again, I haven't been uploading really anything over the last 6 months. I just kind of upload a couple things here and there. Just for those that don't know, if your account goes vacant over a certain amount of time, and I don't know that time, Nick, do you know the time where?
I don't know. I know they'll send you an email after 30 days, like, hey, you haven't uploaded anything. Why don't you come and see, what's going on Amazon? And then I don't know if it goes like to a 30, 60, 90 kind of thing. But I remember when I was on the road, I got that 30-day email. I was like, crap, let me just go ahead and throw some things up on Over real quick, because I literally didn't have time to do anything.
Yeah.
So, but I want to say it would be between maybe 3 months, 3 to 6 months, maybe.
Because here's the thing, like I've been actually months without uploading anything. I never got an email, but then again, my sales have been consistent. So maybe when you got that email, were you getting sales consistently, or were your sales lacking too?
You know what? I got 2 emails. So the first one I got, which was weird because it was on my wife's account, and I had literally just uploaded like the day before, and then they sent me oops, we didn't mean to send you this email. And then on my account, it was definitely, the sales were down, but it was like the end of Q2, so sales are usually lagging around there unless you got like went like Father's Day crazy or something like that. So the sales were okay. It wasn't like through the roof, but I don't know. I would say at this point, for me, like I've almost completely stopped doing Etsy. And it's just because it's gotten to the point now, and I want to say, I think Young was talking about this too, but it was funny because I started getting all this, hey, I need a custom this, hey, I need a custom that. I like this design. Can you completely revamp to do this? And after a while, it was just like, dude, I can't keep up with all of that. Like, I love Etsy as a platform, but I couldn't keep up with it. It was just like, okay.
Oh, were you doing a lot of custom
yeah.
shirts? Oh, I see.
They would see the design, and then people just naturally.
Oh, right.
I think people think revamping something completely is a lot easier than they might think. You're not going into Microsoft Word and just changing a couple of texts around, and it was okay when it was like one here. It got to the point where it was like once a week I'd have somebody asking for a custom, and then when it was like every day, and it's like, okay, I literally do not, with everything else, I do not have the time. And rather than have my account get screwed up behind something like that, it was like, no, let me just shut it down for right now.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Adam Exploits has a question. He says, Chris, how does Amazon merch compare to Teespring? Is it a lot similar? Sellers it says, seems like a lot smaller sellers are doing Teespring. I've never used Teespring. Have you? I'm sure you used Teespring before.
Yeah, I started on Teespring.
Yeah.
Teespring was the very first POD that I got on. This is what I will say with Teespring. Now more than ever, if you're brand new, I would say start with both. And the reason that I say that is because at this point, I think it's pretty much known. Like, yeah, Amazon has ridiculous organic traffic, but it's so much competition with merch. If you're not doing AMS, then it's going to be hard unless you're just like in some super small niches that don't have a lot of competition. But you can't expect to throw up 10 St. Patrick's Day shirts and and they're just going to sell out the roof. You're going to
Yeah.
have to drive traffic in some form or fashion. So if you're going to have to drive traffic, learn on a platform like Teespring, where while they don't have the best organic traffic, if I have to drive traffic to a listing, I would rather make $11.74 off of that T-shirt than $5.28 like I would on merch. So I still to this day I know people who sell on Teespring who've never gotten involved with merch. They have their niche audiences that they communicate with, either in Facebook groups or on Pinterest or however they drive their traffic. You know, they love the product. One thing I will say, in 2017, Teespring was like, look, over the next 3 years, we're going to be rolling out like 30 new products. And they've been consistent almost monthly at this point with rolling out new products. Like they've got the all over zip up hoodies now. They've got the all over joggers now. So like they're not delusional. They know their organic traffic sucks. So they're just like, look, we're going to keep trying to do these things to offset, you know, what it is. Like if you pay $39.99 for a hoodie on Amazon, I think our royalty is like $10 now. So it went up, which is great, but
Yeah.
$39.99 for a hoodie on Teespring, you're making $19.99 as a royalty. So, you know, if you can figure out how to drive traffic, I would tell somebody to definitely apply it to both. But, you know, at this point in the game, you need to be diverse enough to know where the money is coming from and like allocate it. Take the same, it's wash, rinse, repeat. Take the same skill and use it on Teespring. If you're driving stuff on Instagram, give people both options. You know?
Right. One thing I'll say about Teespring, I've never used it, but I've noticed that there's a lot of YouTubers that have a Teespring kind of thing underneath their channel where it shows shirts. So that they're
Mm-hmm.
obviously doing something right. And I don't even know how to do that. I'm sure if you have a Teespring account, do you just link it to your YouTube account? Is that how it works? Or do you know?
Well, it's a part of their influencer program. I can't remember the exact name of it, but and if I'm not mistaken, Chris, I think your channel qualifies for it. But it's called your merch shelf. So like you can just go ahead and link it, and while people are there, it just consistently shows up there, so that people don't have to just click the link and then try to find a shirt they like or anything like that.
Right. Because it shows it right underneath. It shows
Yeah,
mugs and all kinds of stuff.
they have a very impressive back office where they work on things like different partnerships. They're really good about their fulfillment in the EU. They and then what I love about them is they have a Facebook group called Teespring News, where you're actually in there and you're communicating with employees from Teespring. Okay, I had an issue here. I contacted customer service, and then they'll be like, "Hey, look, PM me," which is something I wish they would have done a long time ago with merch. Like, you know,
Right.
they again, they know their shortcomings, and because they know their shortcomings, they try to make up for it in other areas.
Yeah, but I think merch is so out of touch, or I should just say Amazon, because they're just this mega corporation, and I'm sure there's all kinds of crazy structure that goes on there where a company like Printful and Teespring, especially Printful, I know a lot more about Printful, as they seem like, like almost like hip kids that are running it and they're having
Mhm.
fun and they're kind of listening to the community, where Amazon seems like it's on this like golden throne up on the hill where it's just like throwing the scraps down at everyone. And this is, I know this sounds so crazy, but it's like, we're going to do it this way. And, we'll get your information, if we want it. And I think Joe Clay, I think he's trying to scoot in here. I see his logo.
Yeah, I see it.
He's struggling. He's going to get in there. I think the Ghost Children,
I was about to say the ghost children, that damn piece of Wi-Fi.
well, he'll pop in here if he gets
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. All these new updates have got me back. So I'm not like gonna go crazy and do my 50 uploads a day, but I am gonna start to do. I can't wait till I get the multi create function or whatever it is, where you can actually create all the different varieties of things like sweatshirts and hoodies all at once. And then I will really start to get back into it. But right now, I want that option, and I'm sure you do too.
Oh yeah, like I said, well, so I did a merch in a minute, like after the announcement came up, and my plan is simple. I'm just gonna backlog a bunch of stuff. I have a bunch of vacation style shirts that are already selling currently. Some of them are very niche, and I sell two and three of them at a time. I'm just putting everything in a spreadsheet so that I'm not looking through my computer and looking through my phone and looking through my Google Drive trying to put everything together. So whenever it does green light for me, they're going right up. I've been more excited about merch lately because I started doing content again for my YouTube channel, and doing that. I do a daily drive every day, and that's why I came up with Morning Cup of Merch. I've gotten more excited about it now than I have been in quite a bit, but I'm still not putting my eggs in just one basket. If I'm being honest, I've been more excited about grocery shopping lately than anything. That's one of the side hustles. So not just saying, oh yeah, I'm going to hang out at Publix. No, that's not what I mean.
Yeah. What do you mean? Do you mean just like kind of retail arbitrage, but with groceries?
No, no, no.
What do you mean
It's
then?
literally shopping for people.
Oh,
It's two
geez,
platforms.
dude, you
It's,
you you are the side hustle king, man. I'm
yes,
like,
sir.
oh no, you gotta okay, go down this rabbit hole just
Okay.
briefly.
Just briefly, so it's two platforms that I do with it: Instacart and Shipped. And it's essentially people can grocery shop on the app. You get a hit for it, and you go. You have a certain window of time to get the shopping done and get it delivered to them. It's the easiest work you can possibly think. Like the first full week that I did it, I did like maybe 28 shops. As a matter of fact, let me pull it. I did 28 shops and I made over $400.
Wow. So wait, that's 28 different grocery stores, or oh, you mean you just go shopping for people? It could be for anything. It could be a hammer
Yep,
at the hardware store.
dude. Like literally, I had one of those shops. It was three items, but they needed those three items that bad, and I had a base pay of like $8 for the shop, and then they tipped me $12. Like it's things like that that I was just like, okay,
But it's all
people need to
local.
know
It's
about
all local stuff, right? You don't have
it.
to
Yeah,
drive really far.
it's all local.
Wow. See, the thing is, that's what I'm saying. Here's the thing. I'm I would say I'm in touch with kind of what's going on in reality. I've never heard of Flex. I've never heard of Instacart. So if I haven't heard it, there's a lot of people out there that are looking for a job, could be
Mhm.
doing all this kind of stuff, especially if you're able, you have a car, and you can walk, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, let's be honest. Most people, and we're living in a time right now where it's cool to be the entrepreneur. For most of us who've been doing this for a time, we remember when it was not cool to be the entrepreneur. Then you were just the guy who didn't want to have a job, right? So
Right.
all the reality shows like Shark Tank and The Profit and all these different things that are all based on entrepreneurship, I think is great. But the reality is most people are not built to be entrepreneurs. Not even in the slightest. And most people don't want to be. Most people realistically will go into entrepreneurship because they're mad at their job or because they just want more money. So I'm like, okay, even if you just had a side hustle that offset a couple of your expenses, I guarantee that if you told the average person that look, if you could make an additional 15 to 20 grand a year doing something on the side that does not really impact your life heavily and does not have you at a second job, that you don't have any flexibility with, would you do it? Absolutely. And that's real. And 15 grand additional money to someone who probably makes, you know, 30, 40,000 a year. That's life changing for a lot of people. So I was like, okay, and there's a market for that. So they don't necessarily want to go in and learn how to do graphic design or outsource graphic design or use the over app and try to build on a platform. Sometimes they just want to go out and they're like, look, I grocery shop anyway. If I can get paid to do something that I like doing anyway. I told my mom about it and I showed her how much I made the first week. She was like, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, my mom has no entrepreneurial aspirations.
Right.
She's just like, no, I do that all the time. I'm about to retire. You mean to tell me I can retire and then I can just go shopping and get paid for it? She'll stay in a store all day anyway.
Yeah, but then there's the logistics where she's got to go and deliver it. There's all that
That's
too. It's
true.
not just shopping.
But
But
I think when people don't get when they don't get that portion of it, that's when people get pissed off, right? Unfortunately, the commercials and the ads and everything else will tell you, and it's the same thing that happened to people in merch. Oh, join this platform. All you have to do is throw up a t-shirt, any t-shirt, and it'll sell. You'll sell 20 and 30 t-shirts a day, which was fine
in the
for the
very
first
beginning,
4 months of merch.
yeah.
Right. But they don't show the back end stuff. And that's why I was saying that with the channel, I want to show that back end stuff. Like, no, you got to be on time with people's groceries. You have to be careful with people. If somebody was shopping for the things that you eat, you would want them to be careful too. So, like the little things like that. But like, I've really gotten into the side hustle stuff. I'm like, look, my mind is still good. My back is still good. My legs are still good. I'm not going to sit around waiting on merch to come up whenever it wants to. I can make the side money I want to make. I can still live a comfortable life. I'm still 100% self-employed. And I'm having fun while I'm doing it.
God bless you, man. God bless you. Hey, we got to do another one of these shows. That's what I just realized too, is you're going down a whole other road that I think, some of my viewers might be interested in and stuff. And I definitely want to help support your channel and stuff like that. So maybe we can do this every once in a while, come in just to have a talk about side hustling. And I think that's actually a really good, merch by Amazon, that's a great subject. And that's why we started the show. We haven't done a merch talk in a long time, but I think side hustle, especially you seem like you have a lot of knowledge about all these new emerging crowd sourcing jobs that are just like blowing my mind right now and stuff like that.
I have some that I don't even have time to do.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a lot going on. Now, how's your car doing? It seems like you're putting a lot of miles on your car. That's the only downside, right?
That's the downside. That is the downside. So it puts a lot of miles on the car. But for me, I'm all about efficiency. So once I figure out how to do it, efficiently, then, at a certain point, I was riding back and forth here, going and doing this type of shop here and this type of shop here, and then going there in the morning and doing flex, and then coming. I got it down to a science now.
Oh, that's good, because I was gonna say at first, I'm sure it was like juggling chainsaws for a second there.
It was ridiculous, but I got it down to a science now.
So Adam has a question. He says, "How does Instacart work? Do they send out a request and the first person responds gets the order? How does that work?"
So with Instacart, you go in and you pick your hours, right? And so if you pick them, it's 2 hours at a time, essentially. And the orders come in at that point. Now, if there are several people in that market, then the hit will go out first, and then you have to accept it in a certain amount of time. They also have places that are on demand. So like if I know I'm in this zone and I'm shopping this zone for full service, and another zone I have, it may just be on demand. If it comes up, I click it first. It really depends on your market. Like if you have a slower market, if it's a smaller market, Instacart might not be the way to go. If you're in a moderately sized to larger market, Instacart is by far, in terms of the money that you'll get per shop, can be ridiculous. But I've been falling in love with Ship lately, because where Ship may not give you as much money for a shop as Instacart does, you got much more volume. But because it's a smaller company, at least for right now, it's not in every place. But they were just recently acquired by Target. And so Target is taking them everywhere that they're going. So it's a massive expansion. They just had their headquarters originally was in Birmingham, Alabama. Their headquarters is still in Birmingham, Alabama. But like they just had their big Beyond conference where they brought in everybody, and you sat down with the CEO comes to sit down and talking with people for like 10 minutes at the table, and they just rolled out all these new updates on the app. So I like it because I feel like while I'm not necessarily ground floor with them, I'm still on a level where, you know, you can talk to some of the people that are kind of higher up. Like I would imagine it's kind of like how it was with the first few driver partners that were with Uber or Lyft, you know. So, but I mean, yeah, definitely. I'll send you a link too for Instacart, you know,
Okay,
and
cool.
in that
Yeah,
way, if they want to sign up,
yeah. Is it an
go
affiliate
for it.
link? I'll put it in my description.
It is definitely an affiliate link.
Okay, cool. We'll set that all up, and this sounds like you really got something good going on here. And like you said, you're diversifying your work your workload here. Yeah, I was to say your portfolio, your work, your time and your energy. So this is really cool. But yeah, what I'll do is anyone that's watching this on the back end, I will put links to everything down below. And Nick, it was great to talk to you. It's been a while. We need to do this
Yeah,
definitely
man.
again. And thanks for posting on Facebook, because this is what sparked this whole show right now. So like I said, I've been busy too with my life. You have a life. Everyone, Margaret's got a life. Jeff's doing woodworking and farming. And he's doing
Have
his
you
life.
been? Yo, have you been in the? Have you checked in our group since you sent the link?
No, did everyone go crazy?
Just checking, just
Oh,
checking the group.
oh,
Just check the group. You'll get a
okay.
kick out of you'll
Okay,
get a
cool.
kick out of what's going on in there.
All right, I will right now. So Nick, it was great talking to you, man, and we'll do this again. And like you said, everyone, click the like button. So go subscribe to all Nick's channels. And if you're interested in Instacart, we're going to put a link down below where you can sign up and you help Nick out and you help yourself out. So once again, I'm Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. Nick, any last words?
Everybody out there, stay hustling. No matter if it's e-commerce, if you're getting out there, even if you're just baking some pies and going to a flea market, you know, get out there, diversify your income as much as you can. And the only thing else I would have to say on that is, uh, your job may determine your salary, but you definitely determine your income.
I'll just leave it at that, everyone. All right, cool. Have a good night. Take care.